Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. Say it like it is, and I like it. Sister Kathryn, right? I know you know me, so you know. Sister Kathryn, in this last segment, right? I want you, you said you were. Okay. What are the other things that you are involved in?
So I guess one of the other key areas I'm involved in locally is looking after the new Muslims or those that are interested in becoming a Muslim. Being someone who embraced Islam myself 30 years ago and experiencing all the hardships of not having community around me, the tests and challenges that come along with, losing friends, losing family members through the decision that I made, I feel it's really important to provide support for these new Muslims and those that are contemplating becoming a Muslim. And so I do that work with our local Islamic society here in Adelaide.
Alhamdulillah. You know what? I'm so glad that you are involved with this project because this is a universal issue. What often happens when someone embraces Islam, there is so much of euphoria, the excitement, people on that particular day, that moment, they connect with them. But afterwards, we forget. The empathy doesn't continue, knowing that this person made a decision at the expense of the family, friends, some of them even the job, right? The workplace. And I'm so glad that you are doing that. Now, in terms of your involvement in this particular project, what are some of the things that you'll do for the new Muslims?
So there's a lot of classes and things available. One of the key things I think that's missing is the emotional and spiritual support. And so I've done CPE1, which is the first level of chaplaincy course. So I also visit the female prison here to talk to the Muslim sisters that are incarcerated as well. So in one sense, it's a chaplaincy role where we're providing emotional and spiritual support. The other role is really helping them connect with the community, becoming part of the community in whatever way we can. We've also got classes that we have with the imam, which are aligned very much at a beginner's level, and classes for how to pray and how to read Arabic and all the basic things that they require. But I really feel that the area that was very missing that we've done our best to implement is that emotional and spiritual support.
No, alhamdulillah, I think that's wonderful to hear. I mean, I remember when I was in the UK some years ago for a short period, and I had the good fortune of meeting individuals that were also involved in similar projects. And you find that many of them who do embrace Islam, and after a little while they go back to the old faith, because they had no support, they were lonely, they were isolated, they were almost ostracized. Now, from a perspective of schooling, especially in the high school, do you not think that perhaps part of the school curriculum should also be what to do when you engage with a revert, things that we can do practically? Because we always speak about ummatic consciousness in our school, but some of these things are not raised at our school, that we are only force-feeding children for a particular examination. We're not making them aware of what's happening socially around us,
I think that's a great area to introduce, because I know my older children experienced a lot of issues because I was their convert white Aussie mother, and so they actually experienced a lot of racism from the other kids, the Muslim kids. So to the extent that I took them out of the Islamic school, and then they experienced discrimination for being Muslim, and so they just didn't fit in anywhere. And that's really hard for kids to not fit in. So I think at a school level, it is really important for that reason. But I think community-wide, we need more education, because what I find is a lot of the reason that they're leaving Islam is not because of disbelief in Allah, and not because they didn't have faith or they weren't genuine, but because the treatment that they get or what they experience from the Muslims has them doubting whether this was the right pathway to Allah that they took. And so we can't blame them, because they don't have the knowledge yet to go, okay, what I'm seeing isn't Islam, that's just people. We interpret the behavior from the Muslims as being, this must be the representation of Islam, because we don't have the knowledge to say otherwise.
That's a very critical point. I mean, when we look back at our own history, some maybe 100, 200 years ago, the forefathers embraced Islam, and so we are born Muslims, and we cannot thank Allah enough. What if I was not born a Muslim? And what if I did not pursue the right path? I didn't have support around me. So that's a very, very critical point. Now, the last part of this program, I want to ask you generally, I find, and because I've been a head teacher and I engage with head teachers, I find that you got a few types of head teachers. You get a head teacher who is basically an administrator, who does not interact with the students as he should, or with the teachers, or with the parents. There is the other, spends a lot of time outside the office engaging with learners, motivating them and motivating the staff. And you get the other who is almost invisible at the school. Now, and I know from my own experience that nothing is more gratifying for a child that when a head teacher greets him, greets her, comes to the class, a few words of motivation. And I find that, maybe some schools are becoming too bureaucratic, because in the end, the head teacher is the leader of the school. He is the one can help the school to navigate these waters and take them to what I believe to a beautiful vision, as it were. What has been your experience?
It's actually interesting, as you were sharing that, I was recollecting my headmaster at my high school, Mr. White, and how he knew all of our names, even from when we were in year 8, from our first year in high school, right the way through. Occasionally, he accidentally called me Carolyn Jones instead of Kathryn Jones, but he just knew everybody in the school. And I think it made a lot of difference. It made a lot of difference, not just from feeling seen and heard, but also feeling like I don't want to step over the line and do the wrong thing because I'm not anonymous or hidden under the radar, because the head of the school knows who I am.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Yes, yeah. So
I think any management requires you to be involved in who your team is. And unless you really understand who it is you're making decisions on behalf of, how can you make good decisions?
That is so true. I think in the end, I say that if a student wants to see the head teacher, there is no need for him to make an appointment. He can just go there, knock at the door. I want to see you, sir. I want to see Muallim, Mudir. I want to talk to you. I have an issue. I'm in pain. And that is so wonderful if that happens. And I think some of them are sadly losing the plot, right? So in the last few minutes you have, what, I'm going to put you in the spot now, Kathryn, right? What 5 takeaways you want to share with parents and teachers? 5 things that you feel are important.
5 things, okay. Well, I think number 1 is to understand and have a fitra focus. So understand the importance of a fitra focus. So that means number one, we need to work on ourselves to come back to our fitra so that we can then nurture and protect the fitra of children. Point 4 is that it's connection before correction. And number 5 is control doesn't work. And in fact, research has shown that using control actually helps disconnect our children from Allah rather than connect them to Allah, which is what we're hoping to achieve. So it's all about connection, not control.
Jazakumullah. Sister Kathryn, it was such a joy to interact with you, and I will try to summarize what you have said. It's quite challenging, but you know me, I'll do my best, inshallah. So alhamdulillah, we've been talking to Sister Kathryn from Australia, and I've known her for a little while, and in the last presentation in Sri Lanka, I was so touched by her presentation. I could feel authenticity, a sense of connection with children, and once you connect with children, you're able to help them unleash their potential. The other very important aspect is this, that when kids are kids, they'll make mistakes. We should not be punitive. At that time, they need your support. We're not saying you got to be lenient. We're not saying there should not be some kind of disciplinary measures, but you not shut them off. The other very important aspect is this, that even in our communities, lots of people embrace Islam. And whilst we are so euphoric and excited when they become Muslims, but after that we tend to be oblivious, go through all kinds of challenges. And also the idea that as a principal of a school, you need to be accessible, amenable, where children can reach out to you because you yourself has reached out to them. So Sister Kathryn, Allah bless you. And I hope, inshallah, on behalf of the South African Muslims, we are inviting you here to this country, inshallah. You take care.
Inshallah.
Look after yourself. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.